So for now, let us, for now, there is a political state. You and I agree, you and I know that Tinubu cannot solve this problem. Atiku cannot solve this problem. Yes, we all agree that Obi can solve the problem, but the system may not give him the chance to do whatever he wants to do. But let us give Nigeria another shot. I am not a Nigerian proponent. I am not but I believe every section of the Nigerian country has its challenges. And we cannot, as a matter of fact, say that, okay, let's split Nigeria. If the Igbos go to their own, to hell with what happens to the middle belt. After all, sometime in the past, they gang up with the North to suffer us. Let us divide. What happens to the Yorubas after we divide? To hell with them. We cannot think like that. Honestly, we can't honestly think like that. Let the current political scenario play out. Then we can agree that yes, Nigeria has no solution.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Okay, let's see what. Let's wait for the outcome of this upcoming election, right?
Yes,
that's what.
Yes, okay. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Let me make one point. I must let you know. I don't know if you are aware that I lecture at a university. One of the problems we have in Nigeria is the educated people. It's one of the problems we have in Nigeria.
Agreed.
The educated people. Anyway, in all countries of the world, when a nation is facing a problem, what they do is they assemble their best brains, sit them down to come up with a solution to the problem. Let me cite two examples. There was, I think, a mine. Some people were trapped in a mine somewhere in South America some years ago. When they were trapped in the mine caved in. They were able to rescue all of them. The solutions came from the universities in that country. The geophysicists, the geologists, they put their heads together and solved the problem. The second example is in the USA. They have two houses of assembly, representatives and Senate. When they were forming their government, they had the intention of forming one house of equal representation. So some were opposed to it. Some said it should be on population. Some said it should be by equal representation. So there was disagreement. To solve this problem, an intelligent man came up and said, okay, that is the case. Let us form two houses. One of Senate and the other of representatives. Senate should be by equal representation. Then representatives should be by population. That was how educated men solved their problem. In Nigeria today, we have professors of political science, law, sociology, social anthropology, history, and what have you. Frankly speaking, what are we doing? I'm a university lecturer, but that does not mean that I should protect the class I belong. What are the intellectuals in Nigeria doing today? See the Gambian children who are going to school in Nigeria, they are all at home at the moment. The universities have been closed. They are now discouraging their children from going to school in Nigeria because they said their universities are always in crisis. What are they doing to solve these problems in Nigeria? We, the intellectuals, we've not been able to find solutions to these problems. Anyway, what I'm concerned with is, what is the way forward? I've suggested one way. You seem not to agree with me, and I respect your opinion.
No, I didn't say I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. The reality of the situation is that the UN is controlled by the same people who want Nigeria to remain in crisis, who want Africa to remain in crisis.
Not only that, if UN solve this problem for us, they're going to solve it in their own way.
Yes.
In their own way.
Now you are seeing what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the issue is we have to save life. We have to save properties. So in this world we live in, nothing is free. If the UN will solve it for you, you have to give away something. So these are issues. These are things we have to bear for not being able to manage our affairs the way we should manage it. This is how I see it.
Well, I think for me, I have to leave now.
Okay, please.
Hold on. My biggest problem with the educated class in this thing, you see, most of our educated class in Africa are mostly Western educated. And the Western education draws reason from inferences that you study variables and make conclusion based on the variables that you observe. That is the type of academic that we learn. Now, and it is rational, it is logical. But the problems of Nigeria completely, goes against logic. And that is because the northern part, the core northern part of Nigeria don't believe in Western education. So deliberately, anything that follows the principle of Western education is considered here as a taboo, which
No,
is what gives rise to Boko Haram.
No. Excuse me, they are not sincere. You don't believe in
How?
Western is good. They are not sincere.
Okay.
They tell you that. I
I
don't
thought
know.
you said I'm not sincere.
No, they are not sincere because if you don't believe in Western education, why do you use mobile phones?
Oh, you see?
Why do you use the AK-47 you use? Who made it?
So the elite,
No,
the elite in the north here are pumping this ideology to the lower class to ensure that no,
you
don't
see,
go to school.
this boils down.
School is Oga, make I still talk now. My God,
This boils down to the way the country is governed.
The elite here ensures that the proletariat here don't go to school. If you go to school, you start behaving like the West. And they've already told them that Westerners are not going to make heaven. Westerners are crime. So there's a system that ensures that they remain uneducated. And the system makes you to be proud not to be educated. That's why Sani is telling you that. That was why Sani is telling, oh God, wait now.
Let me cite an example. In Afghanistan recently, the Americans pulled out. When the Americans pulled out, the Afghans were running away. Why they were running away? Why did they not go to Saudi Arabia? Why did they not go to Iran, Bahrain, Qatar, Abu Dhabi? Instead, they are going to Germany, USA, Britain, France. You get what I mean? Are you telling me Western education is not good?
That is the mindset. I think northern leaders are not encouraging education in the north. It's
this is a matter of national policy now. You see, the way the education, of course, it's a federal problem anyway. The kind of education we give our children matters a lot. I'm a geographer by training. I read the books, I saw the calculus and differential equations and everything. I got my degree. In Africa today, who is really interested in my differential equations and whatever it is? But if I go to Europe today, for example, I can get a farmer in his vineyard who is interested in temperature changes over time.
I understand that Pastor Chris Okotie once suggested for an interim government where he will lead that interim government so that Nigeria can solve. I also appreciate the fear and the lack of faith to buttress the fact that the system will be rigged. Of course, the system will be rigged. Of course, there will be attempts to rig the system. And I also appreciate the fact that you said you do not know Peter Obi. Of course, you will not know Peter Obi because for a very long time, those who claim to own Nigeria and their assistants, those who make themselves available to be used to perpetuate the dominance and supremacy of the northern cabal, has for a very long time shaped our mind to think that we are powerless. But in very many programs, I've said that the somewhat untouchableness, if there's a word like that, the somewhat untouchable attitude or position of the North is just a facade. Nobody says that these Northerners cannot be bottled up into their shoes, into their space. We've done it before. It's just that as at the time we did it, we're not open to the fact of this northernization or Islamic or Fulani supremacy that these people have had in their mind all this while. There was a time the current president of Nigeria dared Nigeria that election in Nigeria should go according to religion. Christians should vote for Christians and Muslims should vote for Christians. Mind you, I am not even sure what type of political analyst you have, because there are some people who are inundated with this plastic Western education in a way that they look at politics from the fact that you dare not bring religion and ethnicity inside the discussion, because when you do that, you may lose the right to describe yourself as an intellectual. Well, I have long lived above that type of dissolution. There is no way you can discuss Nigerians' political problem and leave out religion and ethnicity. The North have used this pain right from the inception of Nigeria, even before inception of Nigeria. And they further empowered this religion and ethnicity by looking for accomplices or stooges, if I better put it, from the South. And in more recent time, those who have decided Nigeria must be their property have found an accomplice in the Southwest. And each time in previous program, I said, each time they look for accomplices, they go into an arrangement and say that, okay, let's join forces to get Nigeria. When it is your turn, I will support you. Unfortunately, when you support them to get Nigeria, when it is your turn, they'll find a way to ensure that you don't get it. Now, the problem is not the people that have decided that they will make Nigeria their private entity. It is those that make themselves available to be used for the unfortunate interest of the northern cabal. Those are the problem. And who are the problem? The Southwest and the Southeast, who compete among themselves to make Nigeria available for the northern cabal. There was a time in Nigeria when Buhari was making efforts to become the president of Nigeria. There was not, we shouted, we cried, we said if Buhari comes in, it's going to Islamize Nigeria, it's going to northernize Nigeria. It is intellectuals from the South who shouted us down, who made us feel as if we are less intellectual, who made us feel we are less intelligent, to shout us down that we cannot play religion, we cannot talk about religion, we cannot talk about ethnicity. Today, what do we have? Ethnicity and religion has formed the basis for the northern cabal each time they decide to rule Nigeria. Now we have another. Now you have talked about Tinubu. I've talked about Tinubu for many times on this program. Tinubu symbolizes one of many tools in the South that the North will always use and say, okay, let's come together and grab Nigeria. I'll be the first to take Nigeria. When it is your turn, I will support you. Now, Tinubu has helped the North to get Nigeria. Now, he is waiting for his turn, owing to what they have agreed, which is why you hear Tinubu saying it is his turn, Emilio Con. Unfortunately, the Northern Cabal does not believe in anything like Emilio Con. They don't believe in turn. The only turn that the Cabal knows is their turn. The only turn that the cabal knows is their turn. So for Tinubu to even envisage that the Northerners will support him now because they've had a turn, they've had an agreement that when it is my turn, it's going to be your turn, only goes to expatiate the foolishness of the Southern stooge to the Northern cabal. As for Atiku is just a member of a vicious cycle who have agreed that Nigeria must remain in the North. And the only argument that that Atiku, even if I interchange the word Fulani with Atiku's name, I think I'm in over. The only argument that Atiku will have is to say that it is turn of the Northeast. And everybody in the Northeast will identify with the narrative of region, when in actual fact, it is also a Fulani agenda to ensure that power remains with the Fulanis. It will shock the rest of Nigeria the way the Northerners will suddenly swoop in support of Atiku. And it will shock the Yoruba man, because the greatest delusion that the Southwest have is to actually think that they will win any state in the north. They will not. They will not. How long will it take the southwestern man and the southeastern man to know that it is time to stop being a stooge for the northern cabal and work for the interest of the southern region? I will tell you, Mr. Akpojebe, that the problem of Nigeria is not the Fulani man. The problem of Nigeria is not the northern cabal. The northern cabal has become a problem of Nigeria to the extent of how much we have agreed that they should be the problem of Nigeria. If we decide today that the northern Nigeria or the Fulani should stop being a problem of Nigeria, today it will stop. And how can we ascertain that? We can ascertain that by stop playing ethnic politics in the south. We can only attain that by stop playing ethnic politics in the south. The Igbos should stop seeing the Yorubas as their enemies. The Yorubas should stop seeing the Igbos as their enemies. The Benin man should stop seeing that I cannot trust the Igbo man. Today we are all believing that Peter Obi can fix the country. Is Peter Obi not an Igbo man? It shows that our problem has never been the tribal bickering in the south. It is lack of trust among us. So we must find, we must find a way to establish that trust. Now, you said that there should be an interim government where the United Nations should come in. You forget that the United Nations goes by the name United Nations, and the key word there is united. The United Nations came into existence by uniting people, by bringing countries together, by ensuring that countries don't break. Now, I don't think the Yoruba man and the Hausa man has any problem. I don't think the North Central and the rest of Nigeria have any problem. I don't think every other tribe have any problem. And that is what is manifesting today. That is what is manifesting into this Peter Obi movement. What the problem we have in Nigeria is just one tribe, the Fulanis, and their Yoruba Muslim accomplices. That is the problem we have in Nigeria. And why this problem persists, the reason why this problem persists is because the other tribes are still locked up in their ethnic affinity, in their ethnic proclivity, in their ethnic division. They have yet to reason outside, beyond these ethnic proclivities, to see that all of us, Yoruba man, the Edo man, the Ijo man, the Urobo man, the Shekri man, the Anaguta man, the Biro man, we all have one common single problem. But we have yet to reach that point to identify that we just have one problem. If we get to that point where we identify that, yes, the Fulanis are our problem, then we can all come together and, take out the single problem. Now, I've seen Nigerians are also shared in that fear that the Northerners will rig the election, or they will prevent Peter Obi, or let's say, for instance, Peter Obi become president. I think that was the video I made today, that if Peter Obi wins, the Northerners may not want to, acknowledge the fact that he is the winner, and a civil war will break out. Of course, that's what's going to happen. I did a video concerning that. Now, rigging of an election is the same thing with what I've said earlier. A rigging of an election can only be possible to the extent that the rest of us agree about it. The Fulanis are not as invisible as they tend to make it look. They are not that invisible. These are minorities that have discovered the formulas to make the rest of us subservient. And what is the formula? The formula is to insist, or is to find a mechanism that perpetuates our resolve to see ourselves as different. And in as much as we continue to see ourselves different, these people will continue to bank on this advantage to make Nigeria their property. For me, the idea of an interim government for now, it's only a call for a military coup. Because if you are going to say there should be a military government, who will be the person that will... United Nations cannot come into Nigeria and just instill an interim government. Nigeria is a sovereign state, and in the charter of a sovereign state, they are, when we're clamoring for independence, we want independence, we want independence. This is exactly what it is. If we have issues, we're able to sit as a sovereign entity to solve our problems. We cannot invite people to come in and solve it. They know it. So what we do in other videos that I've made, in order to change the system, you must grab the control of that system. If you must control a drone, you must take control of the pad. If you must control a toy plane, you must take control of the pad. If you must control a game, you must be in charge of the pad. If you must control an airplane, you must sit in the cockpit. If you must control a country, you must take the presidency.
Mr. Raka, I would like to jump in there. What Mr. Akpojere was saying is that yes, was saying is that you know, if we cannot manage this country, we need the intervention of international institutions, right? Okay, what you are preaching right now, Mr. Raka, is the problem that we are facing. It shows that the unity of Nigeria as a country has been contested over these years. So if we cannot unite, there is a tribal conflict within this country, Nigeria, created by Britain, then we need the intervention of international institutions such as UN. Otherwise, this upcoming election, if we don't get what we need in this upcoming election, I'm telling you, majority of Nigerians or Nigeria as a country will go in flame. I keep saying it. So
yeah,
right
I agree.
now, according to Mr.
I was building a point. Let me take 1 minute
we
to
need
wrap up.
intervention of international institutions.
Yes,
This preaching that we have to carry one ideology in Nigeria, we have to detribalize, we have to do this. Nobody cares. Nobody
that's
cares
what I'm
about
saying.
that
let me say.
Nobody cares now in Nigeria
one thing
about tribalism. You cannot
I've
get rid of
noticed.
tribalism in
Yeah,
that country.
one thing I've noticed with the like of you, possibly who live abroad, to attempt to solve Nigerian problem is that you still look at the problem of Nigeria from textbook, from what is taught in the classroom. United Nations, the European countries are happy when Africa has conflict. The reason why we are Africans is because we are prone to conflict. Conflict is what determines Africa. The more conflict we are, the more vulnerable we are for European countries to manage us and plunder our resources. You think the European countries want any African countries to thrive? The only time an African country will thrive is like South Africa, where white minorities are in charge of the economy. You still don't get it. The Europeans did a mistake of getting to Sudan and splitting Sudan to South Sudan and North Sudan. It was South Sudan that kept saying that South Sudan should break, Sudan should break. Now they've broken Sudan. The South Sudan that has clamored for division of Sudan for a very long time are the ones that are in the news. They are the ones saying that they are the ones that are always in conflict. The North Sudan that has always been the ones acclaimed to be oppressing South Sudan. You hardly hear North Sudan in the news. It's the same South Sudan that are always killing and fighting till tomorrow. I tell you that, don't get me wrong, I am not a proponent of one Nigeria if Nigeria cannot work. But we have played the crybaby. The Southerners, Christians in Nigeria, minorities in Nigeria, we have played the role of the crybaby for too long. By saying, okay, let us bring United Nations, is to say that as strong as we are in numbers as Southerners, in numbers as non-Fulanis, we are saying that these minorities that are in our country has overpowered us. And the only way we can subdue them, the only way we can take back Nigeria from them is only if a third party comes to Nigeria and fix it. When I hear you people talk, it's like there is an instinctive resolve not to face this challenge, not to face this monster, because somehow I listen to you and I see that you carry some of these biases that has endeared us to remain perpetually different. We don't have a problem. I don't believe we have a problem. The problem we have is our resolve for the Edo man to think that he's a Edo man, for the Yoruba man to think that he's a Yoruba man, for the Igbo man to think that he's an Igbo man. None of us in the South have had a regional interest. They not have a regional interest. And it pains me that youths like us, it's like we are still going to carry over this tribal proclivity to our children. We must find a way. It is not the Northerners. The Northerners are not our problem. You and I, Nekwe, we agreed some time ago that the North is not our problem. We, the Southerners, are our problem. And if we split Nigeria, of course, the UN cannot split Nigeria into 3. We cannot split Nigeria into 4. The best that can happen is to split Nigeria into 2. And you know that if they split Nigeria into 2, we will start having the problem again that the Igbos are marginalizing us, or the Yorubas are marginalizing us, or the Edos are marginalizing. We are not wired to be a nation yet. We are not wired to be a nation. Right now, Nigeria is a country where we have one singular problem, and the problem is the Fulani. For us to be looking at a third party to come and solve the problem of a sovereign country, of course, it's a solution, but it is a textbook solution. It is a textbook. Go and tell the Delta man who they've given vice president to say we want an interim government. Everybody in Delta is already celebrating vice presidency. To them, because of vice presidency, they are going to vote for Atiku, just as Yorubas voted for Buhari when they gave them Osibanjo. That was less than nothing for these 8 years that we have experienced Buhari. I think the problem is us. I believe strongly that the problem is us, and not the Northerners, or not the United Nations that we should be inviting to Nigeria is our mentality as Southerners.
Okay, the issue is this. Madam, can you hear me? Madam? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
But me, I can hear you.
Yeah, but I cannot hear her.
Nekpe, can he hear him? He's asking if you can hear him. Hello?
Hello, go ahead, sir. If you want to say anything, go ahead. Don't wait for me.
No, you are part of the program. You are the one moderating it. So
no, we must know that you are hearing us now. We must have the feeling that you are hearing us.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. Yeah, because some people were calling, and I have some other things taken care of.
All right. Now,
yes,
the gentleman raised a lot of valid points. One thing is certain: the manifestation of the unfriendly disposition of the North towards the South is indisputable. I hope you get me. I said the manifestation of the unfriendly disposition of the North towards the South is indisputable. We cannot dispute it. I want to ask you just a question. Kindly give me a brief answer. Do you believe that we as Nigerians were a serious people?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, please give me a very brief answer, please. Do you believe that we as Nigerians were serious people?
I will answer quickly in 2 ways. The South is not serious, but the North is very serious. At least the North have an ideology which they pursue, and they pursue it very seriously. We Southerners, we don't have an ideology, we don't have a focus, so we are very unserious people.
Now, I believe that as a people, not as Yorubas or Robos or Efik or whatever, as a people, Nigerians as a people, we are the most unserious people on planet Earth. I will tell you the reason why. This country called Nigeria produces a minimum of 2.5 million barrels of crude oil every day. 2.5 million barrels, minus what they stole, what is being stolen by the side. Let us assume that a barrel of oil costs $10 US. $2.5 million barrels times $10, that will give you about 25 million US every day from one source. In this country where I live in, the Gambia, If the government gets 1 million US dollars every day from one source, this place will turn to a paradise, considering the kind of problems they're grappling with. Now, the Hausas, they seem, I mean, the Northerners, they're all the same. They seem not to know what they are doing. By now, I expect the Northerners, I expect them, no, get me right, don't shake your head.
No, talk, please don't mind me.
Yeah, try to see things from the point I'm making. By now, when the Northerners sneeze in the north, the whole of Africa should shiver. The opportunities they've wasted, they've squandered completely. The worst forms of diseases in this world on planet Earth is in northern Nigeria. Illiteracy is something else. When these Boko Haram boys they kidnap school children or what have you, when they show their classrooms, in fact, I don't know what to say. Government controls schools. The classrooms look like where pigs and chickens live in the north. The amount of money at their disposal, which they are wasting, is unquantifiable. So I also see them as grossly irresponsible people. It is irresponsible of the South not to see things from each other's point of view. So the whole of Nigeria is made up of irresponsible men and women. If we cannot sit down to solve our problems, there's a book I read written by an American writer. The man said that no matter how difficult a problem is, if reasonable men sit down to find a common ground, that problem can be solved. Man has taken a trip to the moon and returned safely. What can be more difficult than that? Man was able to achieve that feat because reasonable men sat down to find a common ground. But since this problem started, the Northerners refused to sit down to find a common ground. So this is the problem we are faced with today. In principle.
Hello, sir. Can I just interject here briefly?
I don't mind. Go ahead.
You see, I seem to be an expert on the Northern when it comes to Northern issues because I've spent over 45 years, 55 years here in the North. You see, when you say Northerners, you are taking a chunk of a whole people. There are three types of Northerners. There are Christian Northerners, there are Fulani Northerners, and there are liberal Northerners, who are mostly Hausas. Now, the Northerners here, some of the Northerners here are also a victim of this Nigeria by the cabal of the North, just as you are seeing Nigeria here.
Okay, now
when you are referring to the North, know that the North practices a feudal system whereby certain people are believed that it is their status to remain poor, whereas a few people are destined to be rich or to be elite. So those people who are at the lower class are a victim too here in the North.
Now look at it this way. Take the Northern Christians, just this North-South problem, there's no way we can avoid it. That's the dimension the problem has taken now. If not, I would have loved to see things from national point of view. But the way the problem is now, it's not possible. Take the Northern Christians as an example. There was a time we had a group of people they called the Lantern Mafia. They were called Lantern Mafia.
Okay.
They were calling
That's in Plateau State.
Yes, they were calling the shots in Nigeria. These were Christians. Most of them were Christians. While they were eating and drinking with the Northerners, their Northern Muslim brothers or whatever it is, they found nothing wrong with it. Throughout Yakubu Gowon's government, Murtala Muhammad's government, Babangida's government, they've been parlaying together, dealing with the Southerners in a very ruthless manner. Now, these same people they'll be eating and drinking with are now coming after their land. We want your land now, not a question of eating and drinking now. We want your land. It is now they know that these guys don't mean well for them. So I remembered when I was reading European history in my school days, there was a man in Britain they called Castelar of Britain. At the end of the Napoleonic Wars, they met in a place called Vienna, the Vienna Congress of 1815. Castelar said, every man to himself and God for us all. That was what the man said during that Congress in Vienna in 1815. We've been pushed to the wall because, when people deliberately refuse to see reason, when you want to sit down and reason with them, then other options will be pursued. But personally, I don't like bloodshed. Nobody loves bloodshed. But if we are pushed to that situation,
we must shed the blood.
Well, okay.
On this program, have you watched the Nekpe brought a Fulani man on this program? Have you listened to the Fulani man?
Last week or so?
No, many times, not just many times. Have you listened to him?
No, I've not. Now, the issue is this. When we talk of sovereignty, that Nigeria is a sovereign state, nobody should interfere in our internal affairs, I quite agree with you. That's the essence of sovereignty. But it is the essence of government, or the duty of government, to protect lives and properties. In other countries of the world, even here in the Gambia where I live, if a Gambian national is in trouble outside, the government is not as strong as Nigeria or South Africa or Congo, but through indirect means, they go behind the scene to see what they can do to ameliorate the hardship the person is going through. That is the essence of sovereignty. What exactly is Nigeria doing for the people of the country?
Hello.
No, let me finish. I'll quickly make a point. If you want water in Nigeria, you must drill a borehole. If you want electricity, you must buy a generator. If you want good health, you must go to a private clinic. If you want justice, you employ the services of a good lawyer. I hope you are following me. I hope you are following
you.
Yes, you must employ the services of a good lawyer if you want justice. Tell me precisely what the government of Nigeria is doing for the people of Nigeria. But anyway, what I'm after is solutions to this problem. We should concentrate more on solutions than the problem itself.
Yeah, beautiful. During
the Moshood Abiola crisis, which they now call June 12th, I was not in Nigeria then. I noticed that the Yorubas voted for the man. The Igbos voted for him. The Northerners voted for him. What formula did he use to cut across all these people? Something went wrong along the line. Last week, I mentioned on this program that it is the same class of people who have mismanaging this country since independence that are still in power. It is that class Nigerians should overthrow. If you overthrow Buhari today, this problem will continue. This problem we are discussing. If the military should come today, which is even impossible now, military rule can no longer take place because the youth will not take it from them. This problem will still continue. So where do we stand? How do we solve this problem? This is the issue we are after now. And
let me tell you how to solve the problem.
No, I want to correct a wrong impression people have. When we are discussing this problem, unfortunately, people talk about youth. It is the youth who ruined Nigeria. The youth destroyed Nigeria. Let me tell you why. When Obasanjo was 39 years old, he became a military head of state. Yakubu Gowon was 30-something, is it 34, 35? He was head of state. Alfred Dieter Spieth of Rivers State, he was the youngest governor in his time. He was just crossing from 24 to 25. All the people who laid the foundation of this Nigeria we are crying over today, they were all youths in those days. What is the guarantee that when the modern youths come, they will not do the same thing? Because look at the way the country is today. Morally, the youths are as bankrupt as the elders. So the fact that a man is not a question of age, it's a question of choice and upbringing that's going to solve this problem. So we should not emphasize on the youth so much. We see the kind of horrendous things they are doing today. I mean the youths in Nigeria. It is not their fault. The Beninese have a saying that you live the life you met. I mean, the world you are born into, that is the world you live in. We brought up a crop of irresponsible youths. Now, the problem is we are faced with a problem. How do we go about it? I've suggested the United Nations coming in, declaring the country a mandated territory. Don't disagree with me radically. The issue is this: if Nigeria should break up today, the whole of West Africa will be on fire.
That's true. Nobody's disputing
the Gambia here where I live, if 500,000 refugees pour into this country, we can't provide electricity. We can't provide water for additional 500,000 people. The schools will not be
enough. Can I just add something now? Because yes, a lot of points are you see, the problem I have with discussing the issue of Nigeria with a lot of people in your type. Sorry, when I say your type, I don't mean it in not in a derogatory way.
I know.
Is that you come armed with assessing or analyzing Nigeria with a lot of academic perspectives. And in some of my political analysis, I've said that Western education is not equipped to appraise the unique problems of Nigeria. If you want to understand Nigerians' problem, that book you learn in school, keep it aside. But it's going to be difficult because the only thing that defines your intelligence is that Western education. But this Nigerian, this problem in Nigeria, you can't solve it for Western education because the problem is as raw as it is. The problem is as real as it is. The problem is black and white, and you don't need any quotation of 1920, 1960, 90 that, 90 that. That is why each time you discuss with the Hausa man politics, he just laughs at you because he knows that when you are coming to the table of discussion, you are going to speak grammar. You are covering the light. Please open the light. You are going to speak grammar. You are going to make quotation. You are going to make all these things are nothing. The only thing that drives them is that Nigeria must be ruled by a Muslim. Nigeria, say Malam. You must understand their perspectives. And the only thing, you see, before we say, okay, we are going to make room for third parties to come and solve Nigerian problem, we must first ask, have we been a solution and this solution didn't try? In 2011, when Buhari dared that elections should be based on religion, Goodluck Jonathan came on the basis of the massive support of Christians in Nigeria. And that is why the Christians in the North are suffering for the betrayal that they betrayed the North till today. Because what has deceived the North, that they have more population, is the Christians in the North that vote on the basis of North. For the first time, the Christians in the North discarded that Northern affinity and voted. The problem is simple. A group of people, aka cabal, have grown in confidence that they can rule Nigeria and determine Nigeria how they want. This Islamic, they want to Islamize Nigeria, is just a tool to allure the poor masses in the North who believe that Islam is one thing, that if Islam becomes Nigeria, Nigeria will be good. They don't care about Islam. They don't care about Sharia. It's just a tool to carry the poor masses in the North along. What they really are after is their own personal glory and their families. During the lockdown, when we, the poor masses, were locked indoors, Buhari's son was busy riding his power bike because the road was free and he had an accident. It was only when he had an accident that we know that while the rest of us were indoors, he was outside flying his bike. See, we must change our mentality from overlooking. We are overlooking at the problem is not as big as it is. The Fulanis are not as invisible as they are. The cabal that have reigned control over this country, they are not as invisible as they are. It is us that have refused to align our perspective, to align our problem, to synchronize it with the problem of the Yorubas, synchronize it with the problem of the Igbos. Let me also, are you not shocked that ever since Peter Obi came out, the Igbos have stopped calling Nigeria a zoo? The Igbos have stopped pursuing elders and beheading people. The Igbos, the Southeast have been relatively peaceful. Doesn't that tell you that there's a solution to everything? Everybody is angry that Nigeria is not fair to them. The Robos are angry and Nigeria is not fair to them. The Igbos are angry. The Yorubas are angry. The Edos are angry. The Middle Belt. In fact, in Nigeria today, nobody should claim hardship of Nigeria more than the Middle Belt. The Middle Belters are the ones. So when you say that the Middle Belt have been dining with the North, The Igbos have dined with the North. Yorubas have dined with the North. Everybody have dined with the North. So let's not apportion one blame to one people. This is not a time to apportion blame. It has come to a point where the rest of us are now facing a problem together. If you and I were living in a room and one of the room occupant is the problem of the room, are we not going to tell the guy to leave the room since you are the problem of the room? Of the room. If we are living in a university hostel and we are 6 occupants in the room, and one guy keeps constituting the problem of that room, of course, the guy will continue to be a problem of that room if the rest of us fail to see that he is the problem of the room. But when the rest of us are united and we all agree that this is the problem, solution will come that day. The very day we realize that this is our problem, the solution will come that day. It is because in the height of this problem, in the height of this Fulani menace, or the height of this cabal menace in Nigeria, we are still playing ethnicity in the South. We are still playing ethnicity. That is why this problem persists.
You see, the issue is this. As I said earlier on, I am more interested in solutions than problems.
And I'm giving the solution, but the solution is we should unite among ourselves and fight a common enemy. How big is that?
Excuse me. I'm not supporting what the North is doing. I made a statement earlier on that the manifestation of the unfriendly disposition of the North towards the South is unquestionable. You get what I mean?
Which North? The whole of the entire North, or
no,
the
country divided, excuse me, the country divided into 2.
Yeah.
As we are talking now, you have the Northerners, you have the Southerners. That's how I was brought up in the country. So I'm speaking like a Nigerian. We always talk of North-South dichotomy.
When did you leave Nigeria? When did you leave Nigeria to stay abroad?
That's not the issue. That's not the issue. And I don't need to fight the First World War to know the nature and causes of that war. So if I'm in Nigeria or not, that does not mean I don't know what is going on in Nigeria. So anyway, let's.
So if Nigeria should split today on the basis of North and South, where and where? Because I want to be in the same picture with you. I'm just trying to go into your mind. So I'll be on the same page. If Nigeria should split on the basis of North and South, where in the part of Nigeria is North? By your own estimation. No, you said when you grew up, Nigeria was shared into North and South. Where is North by your estimation?
Let me tell you something. Let's get something very clear. If Nigeria will break up, it can never be North, South, East, West. It's going to be principalities. A lot of nations, splinter states will emerge. So the issue.
That's what I'm saying. I need, please. I'm not cross-examining you. I'm not into a debate with you. We cannot debate. Where? No. I need no. You cannot be talking, and I don't understand where you are coming from. And I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. Hold on. You hold on too now. I'm asking you a question to enable me know where you are coming from. What part of Nigeria are you referring? You said you yourself said just now that Nigeria is divided into North and South. So I want to know where is North in your part.
Excuse me. In our discussions in the country, we always talk of Christian South and Muslim North. This is the mentality we grow up with. The point I want us to drive at is this: we are faced with a problem.
No. You are no. Okay, let's not face it this way now. You said now that when you are growing up. No, you said when you are growing. No. You are just amplifying what I've been trying to preach for years. You just said when you are growing up. Are you taking your words back? Are you taking your words back?
Excuse me.
You just said that Nigeria is divided into North and South. So no, you cannot just jump. You cannot dodge that question. You must answer that question. You said when you are growing up, you are made to know that Nigeria is divided into North and South. I am just trying to get in your head because that is where our problem is in the South. Where in Nigeria is that North that you are referring to? And where in Nigeria is that South that you are referring to? I need to know that.
What we Nigerians call geopolitical zones.
Okay, so okay.
Excuse me, how many geopolitical zones are in the North?
6.
Good. That's the North I'm talking about. How many are in the South? How many are in the South?
3
geopolitical zones.
3.
Good. That's what I mean by North-South.
Okay.
Now, the issue is
how difficult was that? I just wanted to know where you are coming from.
Excuse me. The issue is this: we are faced with a problem. What is the solution to this problem? That is my interest in this matter.
Yeah, you provide a solution that United Nations
should
set up an interim government.
Territory. The reason is this. In East Timor, they had a problem there, very similar to what we are solving now. It was through a referendum conducted by the UN that the problem was solved. At the end of First World War, Eastern Europe was a total mess. At the Vienna Congress of 1919, new states were created. If we decided that, okay, let us go our separate ways, which the Northerners are not prepared to do, there's no need for us to go through war. But if it becomes inevitable, we just have to do it.
Okay, can I ask you on that question again?
Go ahead, if you wish.
Okay, if, for instance, a referendum is conducted and we all decide to go our separate ways, of course, if you are separating, that means the least you have is 2. How many ways are you talking about here?
Nobody can predict it for a number of reasons. Let me tell you the reason why. If there is a break now if there's a breakup of Nigeria, what is the guarantee that the Ife and Modakeke man will live in peace? What is the guarantee that the Urhobos and the Chekiris will live in peace? What is the guarantee that the coastal minorities, Rivers, Akwa Ibom and others, and the Igbos will live in peace? What is the guarantee that the Middle Belt people will live in peace with the true north, with the far north? I hope you get me. So actually, breaking up the country is not the solution. But if the Northerners, you know who I refer to as the Northerners now, if the Northerners insist that their unfriendly disposition to the South cannot be changed, so be it, the country will have to pack up.
That's what I'm saying, the country will pack up. By how many ways should we pack up?
Countries have been packing up. Ethiopia, for
example. I know. You see, you're thinking that you're under a tribunal. You're not under a tribunal. We are believe me, questions I'm just asking because if the country, okay, can I talk? Can I talk?
Well, talk.
You see,
I think Mr. Akpojere is looking at it holistically.
Yes.
So Mr. Oraka is looking at the tribalism, the ethnic division going on in the country, of which Mr. Akpojere is looking at Nigeria as a country. What are the solutions?
No. You got it wrong. That's not true. Me and Akpojere are on the same page. You're on the same page. He's using a different road to the same place. I'm using a different road. He's saying the same problem that I've been saying for years, but using Makurdi through Benue. Me, I'm using through Abuja, Okene. It's the same thing. See, Nigeria, if we split, you see, it's like if you pour kerosene inside water and you say, okay, let us share the water into 2. The kerosene has mixed with the water. So the bucket of water you are taking away, we still have a taste of that kerosene. Nigeria has a strong tribal and religious problem. If we split just Edo State alone, Edo State will carry on with the same agitation that we are having in Nigeria. If we split Southwest alone, they will split. One group will start complaining that another group is marginalizing them. It's a vicious cycle that is there.
So
I tell you that right now. See, the problem of Nigeria is leadership, and I'll give you an example. It's not too far long. There was you guys are distracting me now. Haba. There was a time in Nigeria when Buhari went on a medical sabbatical, and Osinbajo took the reins of government for 3 months, just 3 months. And in 3 months, immediately people started seeing changes. Immediately. And what was it Obasanjo did? Obasanjo went and had a town hall meeting with youths. Went to the Igbo speaking, Osinbajo. When Buhari left the reins of government for Osinbajo, in 3 months, Osinbajo was able to, and people saw it. And what was it he did? He went to, he constituted town hall meeting and met the militants, the Igbo youths, Yoruba youths, and immediately peace started coming. It was when the country started gaining ground that they said, Buhari, I beg, plus you and your sickness, come back. And he took over the leadership and everything went back to normal. Look, my brother,
Okay.
There is solution is possible. It's just the will of a leader to instill that leadership. See, don't get me wrong. Hold on. Don't get me wrong. I am not canvassing for a one Nigeria.
Let me look at it from another perspective. Remember, I said earlier on that it is the same class of people who have been mismanaging the country that are still ruling the country up to today. Unless that class is overthrown, we will not know peace.
100%, I agree with you.
Let me give you a brief history of my educational background. I hope you are getting me. It might take some time. Please allow me to explain it. During my youthful days in Benin City, in the 60s, early 60s, there was a political leader they called Chief Awolowo. This man said, if you vote for me, I will give you free education. People said it's a lie. It's not possible. Where will you get the money? This, that. Now, Midwest voted for him, and the West voted for him. He brought free education. I went to school, primary school, free. My parents only bought me uniforms. During the military era in Benin City, where I grew up, as day students, we were not paying fees. I hope you are getting me. We were not paying fees. If you are a border, you pay fees. So I was a day student. My secondary education was free in Benin City. Good. Now, I went to government college, Ughelli.
I went to government college, Ughelli too.
Oh, good. Now, I was in Saple House.
I was in Fokedo's house.
Very good. So when I was there, we paid school fees for the first term. Dimas Akbore was our principal before he went into politics. When we paid the fees, luckily, UPN won the election. Bruce Ali declared HSC students as tertiary education students. They paid us bursary. The bursary we were paid was almost 10 times more than the school fees we paid. So I got free education. I went to University of Lagos. First year, tuition was free at the University of Lagos, federal universities. First year, I had no accommodation because, it's a problem at Unilag. So I was a squatter. Second year, I was entitled to, but I could not get. I was also a squatter. Then third year, I was given a room. The boys who squatted with me, they volunteered, went behind me to pay for the room as a mark of gratitude. So my university education was free. When I went for a master's program at the same Unilag, they gave me a room for 100 naira for the whole academic year. That is the only money my parents paid for my education in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 100 naira. Go and find out. I hope you are getting me. Now, the issue is this. People in Nigeria, they are feeling shortchanged. Even in Nigeria, when you run into problems, there's nobody to cry to. You just feel, of what use is it to be a Nigerian? So this is the cause of this problem. As I said earlier on, it is the same class of people who are mismanaging the country, who are still mismanaging it up to today. Not until that class is overthrown, we will not know peace.
So are you saying that the process that is ongoing to take out these people will not see the light of day?
Take them out through this process. They are the people controlling this electionary something coming up.
So how do we take it from them if we agree that it is to take out these people? Because of course, if you are in control of the system, you can control the system. You cannot control the system when you are not in control of it.
You see, this is why I'm suggesting an extraordinary measure. Because when a problem is very chronic, you need a chronic answer. This issue of sovereignty, that people should not interfere with our territorial integrity. Take South Africa, for example. While they were fighting apartheid, apartheid was a life-threatening problem. They allowed people, other African states, to interfere into what they were doing. Zambia, Nigeria, Ghana, that was Kwame Nkrumah's time, Kenekanda of Zambia, Samora Machel, they were all deeply involved in South African internal affairs, although on the side of the blacks. So this idea of saying is sovereignty, nobody should temper. If we are talking on sovereignty, why did you intervene in Liberia? You did not get a UN authorization to enter Liberia, but you entered through ECOWAS. You didn't get UN authorization to enter Sierra Leone, you enter through, ECOWAS. If you can do that to other nations, why are we so fussy about sovereignty? Now,
the intervention we had in Liberia was peacekeeping. We never enter into Liberia to enforce anything.
Look, do you know the number of Nigerians who died?
Who what?
Nigerian troops who died in Liberia. I was there when the war was about to start.
When two people are fighting and you are separating them, of course you will fall, enjoy yourself.
I was living in Congo town when the war broke out. I'm sorry, when the war was about to break out, then I left in Congo town. The number of Nigerians who died in Sierra Leone, Nigerian troops, I don't mean nationals. They went there for peacekeeping, but they interfered into the internal affairs in the interest of West Africa, because the refugees were flooding the whole, the sub-region. So if Nigeria should break up today, the whole of West Africa is in a very mighty trouble.
Well, Mr. Akoshewe, for now.
Let me make a quick point. All members of the human race, we have two citizens, we have two nationalities. Your country of birth, that is your nationality, then we should not forget that we also belong to what we call the Commonwealth of human race. As we are members of the human race. If a section of the human race is in problem and the other decide that take it or leave it directly, or look at what is happening in Ukraine today. When the war started, people said that their problem with that, which it concern us. But the whole world is feeling it right now. Even here in the Gambia, we are very remote from the main parts of the world, but the prices of food here is already going up because of what is happening in Ukraine. The whole of West Africa will be in a total mess. We should not inconvenience other people with our own personal problems. So the United Nations should step into what is happening.
Can we get callers now? I think we have exhausted our points here, because the truth is, I actually don't like discussing Nigerian problem from a textbook perspective.
Excuse me, don't look at it as a textbook perspective. The issue is this.
Textbook approach.
What I mean is this. Two children born on the same day, from the same womb, cannot see things from the same perspective. One could become a violent soldier, while the other one will become a priest. I hope you get what I mean. You see, give me less than a minute. Sir, you are used to Nigerian situation, because that is.
I know say we Robo people like to talk well, so just endure.
Good. Now you are used to the Nigerian situation because that is where you live. I've left the country for some time. I also see things from other perspectives. I respect your point of view, because the English people say, those who wear the shoes knows where it pinches. You are feeling it more than I do over here. But virtually all my income in this country go to Nigeria all the time. So I'm also feeling it. To solve problems over there, I'm also feeling it. But the issue is, what I'm interested in is, how do we solve this problem? I've suggested something, UN intervention. Because we are members of the United Nations. We pay our dues. So when we have problems, we are entitled to solutions from the United Nations.
Sir, when you say if we don't reform the ruling class now, Nigeria will not see whatever, But are you referring to the North being the problem of Nigeria?
No. I'm sorry. Thank you for raising that point, madam. Not just the North. You see, people are saying Nigeria should break up. If that's the last solution, it's fine. But there's something we should know. Let's say Delta State, where I come from, or Edo State, where I grew up. If Edo State is a country today, what is the guarantee that the people constituting that country will not be corrupt? Because corruption is across the whole country right now.
Yes.
There's what the Benin call Usakame. Usakame caught not only monetary money, not only monetary corruption. Usakame is a Benin word, which is very broad. I mean, the way we lived in Benin City in the 60s, it's not the way they are living now. So I cannot even come to Benin now to fit into the system properly anymore. You get what I mean? So what is the guarantee that if Benin is a country today, they will not be corrupt? What's the guarantee that the Urobos will not be corrupt? What's the guarantee that the Igbo man will not be corrupt? So this is why I'm a bit skeptical about this issue of, yeah, the issue is this, madam. We should share the blame, but the Northerners, they have more blame to, they should carry most of the blame for two reasons. The amount of money these people have wasted. If you pour it into Ekpoba River, the river will not flow. If you dam Ekpoba River, I hope you get me. Now, secondly, let me cite a very good example. When I was a little boy in the West, in Benin City, in the West, there was an armed robber they called self-styled Dr. Ishola Oyenusi. He's from Okitipupa. He terrorized the whole of the West. The Yorubas, they captured this guy, put him on trial, and he was executed by firing squad at Bar Beach, Lagos. In Benin City, there was a notorious boy called Lawrence Anini. The Beninese, they even used their connection at federal level. They brought a man called Pari Osayande to work out the modalities he's a policeman, to work out the modalities to capture these boys. They captured them. George Yamu and others, they were executed at the Kenwa firing range. I witnessed a Yamu's execution. In the East, there was Okotoko 7 or so. I'd left the country then. The Igbos, they did what they could to arrest these boys, put them on trial, executed them. See the horrendous atrocities they are committing in the North. Nobody has been arrested. To the extent that even the United Nations office in Abuja was bombed to ashes. Nobody has been arrested. How responsible are the Northerners? You see the point I'm making? So they carry more of the blame. They carry more of the blame than the South. I mean, look, the little development we have in Nigeria today, in the South, they are through private initiatives. Through private initiatives. Not, I mean, frankly speaking, I'm fed up with the country. But we should not create a problem in an attempt to solve another problem. To solve our problem. This is why I'm a little bit careful when we are talking about separation or what. If war breaks out today, it's not the story we are talking now that in fact, if you don't wear Kwemose, it is for they know the reasons why they say Kwemose. So we should be very careful in handling this matter. The Northerners have been grossly irresponsible in managing the affairs of the country.
Not let Sunny hear you. Sunny hear you now go fight you.
That is what I wanted to say. There is one Fulani man that used to join us on this program. He believes that the North is doing well. That unlike the time of President Jonathan, that this current administration has changed so many things, and even rated Buhari more than 90% the last time on this program, saying that he has done so well, more than any president of Nigeria so far. So people were outraged, people were watching, were outraged about such comments. Even though security is ravaging the lives of people in the northern region, this man is coming to this program saying that everything is okay, that we don't hear about bombing, killing people anymore in the north, that Buhari's regime has profound solution to all those problems, and that people are doing well. So I was even questioning him about the rate of poverty prevailing in the north. He said, depend on what we define as poverty. So I said, okay, now what about those beggars? He said, in the north, they have their own form of education, and they have their own way of defining poverty. So for them, a beggar in the streets is not considered as a poor person. So the mindset of the Northerners, I'm not sure if all Northerners are thinking or are behaving like Mr. Sani. I was so surprised. I never knew.
Yeah, everybody's thinking like that.
Yes. Please, just give me a few minutes.
Yes.
When I was living in Jerusalem, in Palestinian controlled territory, where you have Bethlehem and other, I mean, the Muslims are there. Despite the horrible problems they are facing, there are no beggars in the Palestinian-controlled territories. I was in Egypt. If you go to the streets of Cairo, you don't find them over there. So, I mean, these guys, they don't know what they are talking about. You get what I mean? I mean, at times, maybe I'm deceiving myself, I don't know. I don't want to see these things from religious point of view. The Egyptians are Muslims. The Palestinians are Muslims. The Gambia where I live here, if I tell you what is happening here, you will not believe. On Christmas Day in the Republic of the Gambia, Muslim children and Christian children, they go about from house to house. I mean, in Nigeria, we say, come and do Christmas for me as little kids. The Ramadan, what's called celebration, is coming up very soon. On that day of Ramadan, when they are slaughtering the ram, you will not know the Muslims from the Christians in this very country I'm living in called the Gambia. So what kind of Muslims do we have in Nigeria? So this problem is not a question of religion. This question is just the attitude of the people we are dealing with. It's a question of coincidence that it has something to do with religion. I mean, religion is mixed up with religion. The way we see things in the South, unfortunately, is not the way they see things in the North.
Can I add something here, please? You know, I've been relatively silent for a long time now.
Okay.
You see, when I see you guys attempting to, even when you are trying to describe what is happening in the North now, I can see you are somehow mumbling. It is the same problem I'm facing. I wish I didn't grow up in the North. Maybe I'll be basking in this ignorance of what is happening here. See, these beggars on the street, to every Northerner here, it's an asset. It's an asset for them. When Jonathan came and attempted to build schools for them, the North was outraged that you are trying to spoil a system. You still, when you are referring to the North, always think about feudalism. And these people that are beggars, they are proud to be beggars, to keep the elite where they become, and the elite where they belong. And the elite are proud to keep the beggars where they belong. So there are two separate people who are proud of where they belong, and there's nothing you can do about it. It is you now in another realm that are saying that there's no light here now. This is the Nigeria we are living. That is seeing it differently. You understand me? The North, here we have the North Central. They are very, very different from the corner. Very, very different. In Plateau State, where I am, it's more or less like the South. So is Taraba, so is Benue. You get me? So when we keep saying North, let's leave the past, whether the North dined with the distant. Let's face a problem that's with us here now. And the problem that's with us is one group of people who want to take Nigeria for the ride. And like you rightly said, the cabal does not include the North alone. Tinubu is part of the cabal who believe that it is his turn as a member of the cabal. But we have the core cabal and those who think that they are cabal. Even Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, also deludes himself that he's a member of the cabal. So what we need to do right now is to give Nigeria another shot at solving their problem. We cannot just write it. Yeah, I believe right now, the wave we are having now, the sensitization of the youth sensitivity to the problem that we have now, let's give it a chance. Let's drag it to the end and see what it brings. I know for right now, I don't think the UN is interested to come and solve Nigeria's problem.
No,
I don't think they are. I don't think they are.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So for now, let us. For now, there is a political state. You and I agree. You and I know that Tinubu cannot solve this problem. Atiku cannot solve this problem. Yes, we all agree that Obi can solve the problem, but the system may not give him the chance to do whatever he wants to do. But let us give Nigeria another shot. I am not a Nigerian proponent. I am not but I believe every section of the Nigerian country has its challenges. And we cannot, as a matter of fact, say that, okay, let's split Nigeria. If the Igbos go to their own, To hell with what happens to the middle belt. After all, sometime in the past, they gang up with the North to suffer us. Let us divide. What happens to the Yorubas after we divide? To hell with them. We cannot think like that. Honestly, we can't honestly think like that right now.
Let me put it this
way.
Let
me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me
quickly add that one thing. When you said let's give chance to another person, me and you to give chance to another person, or
I didn't say let's give chance to that person. No, that's not what I said. Don't put words into my mouth. I said let's give Nigeria. Let's give Nigeria another shot. I didn't say let's give Nigeria on that person.
No, when you said let's give Nigeria another shot, what do you really mean by that? Can you explain?
Let the current political scenario play out. Then we can agree that yes, Nigeria has no solution.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Okay, let's see what. Let's wait for the outcome of this upcoming election, right?
Yes,
that's what.
Yes, okay. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Let me make one point. I must let you know. I don't know if you're aware that I lecture at a university. One of the problems we